So now we have another amazing guest, a chap called Sal Mohammed. He is ex-Telefonica and has recently left Google to continue working on his social entrepreneurship product that he started whilst at Telefonica. So it gives me great pleasure to invite him to the stage, and hopefully he's going to tell you more about what it is that he's created and what he's been up to.
Hi everybody, hope you're okay. So thank you, Tim and David, for inviting me here. I love the work you do with the Circle and the mission you serve. We started trying to answer a similar question. What would happen if corporates pooled together their resources to solve a social issue? More specifically, homelessness. The average age of a rough sleeper in the UK is 47. Last year, over 30,000 single parents were made homeless. In 2015, we lost over £500 million of donations as people went from cash to more of a digital economy. And I'm going to talk to you about Connected Homeless, what it is, why we set it up. But I actually want to spend most of the time talking about my entrepreneurial journey and summing it up in 5 quotes to share with you guys. So, Connected Homeless, we give homeless users a low-end smartphone, £20 smartphone, a unique ID number, and a copy of our digital app, and they're on their way. With that, you're able to access food banks and find the local location of those. You're able to find accommodation and see availability. We work manually with employers who are willing to hire homeless people for their first entry-level jobs. And we do that in a manual say, we know this person, we can connect you. We have an offers section on the platform which basically crowdsources money from corporates, the public sector, and the public. And we use these funds to direct them to the needs most pertinent to homeless people in their situation. For instance, a lot of homeless women, when they're on the menstrual cycle, actually have no equipment to use. So we go to companies and say, with these funds that we have, can we buy 2,000 Tampaxes from you for the month, or whatever it might be, right? At cost price or at a agreed rate, or whatever that might be, working with our partners. And we convert these funds into a digital voucher. So the user gets a voucher on their phone, walks into a shop, shows the voucher, redeems it, and walks out. So the possibilities are open. We can push notifications to them, say, hey, it's really cold out there today, make sure you look after yourself, here's a free tea, and go and redeem it. We built an events platform on the app, which basically allows people to create their own movements. So if you're a corporate and you want to run an event like the importance of search for homeless people, you can do that. Where it gets more interesting is at the micro end. If you're a barber, you close every day at 5 o'clock. And on Tuesday, you want to close at 7 o'clock, and you've got 10 slots for homeless haircuts. Just pop it through the app, hit go. They can RSVP to that and go and get their haircut and walk out. So it enables people to have a platform that they can create their own movements from, and that was really important to us. Underpinning it all is this digital cryptocurrency coin conversion, basically, where we found a lot of people who stopped giving to homeless people. They didn't know where the money was going, what they're going to do with it. Things like, oh, I don't know if they're going to buy alcohol, cigarettes, drugs were going to come up. And we thought, there must be a better way. You know, we've put robots on Mars and we can't figure out how to get money into homeless people for things that they really need. And we developed this system where basically each homeless person has an ID number. You simply open your app up, ask them what's your ID number, pop in £2 or whatever the donation is you want to give, hit go. That will fall into their digital wallet, and we convert that from cash into a digital coin that they can only use and redeem in set up places and services. On your app, in the consumer end, you also have a button which we call an I have a button. The average person in the UK has between 2 and 3 smartphones sitting in their drawer doing nothing. We thought, what if we had a button where you could say, I have a phone, here's a picture of it, here's my address. We then send a volunteer to come and collect that from you, redistribute it to the homeless people who don't have a phone. So very quickly we get to a situation where we have more phones than we have homeless people, and things like suits for interviews and so on and so forth. One of the things we talked about is how do you fund it, how do you get financing for it? One of the things we thought of was to be quite creative, so we've built a button which is basically an ad exchange. It's called Watch an Ad button. And basically it's for people who may not have funding to donate to a homeless person but really want to get involved. So you're likely to be of a particular demographic that is socially conscious and caring, and that is quite powerful for people who want to reach you with the message. So, for instance, if Subway were launching an organic sandwich and they wanted to promote it to you, you would click watch an ad, they would pay us 50 pence for watching the video, and it helps the whole thing become self-funding. But more importantly, it allows us to make all the donations that come in and out 100% for the homeless people and what needs to be done. So that is a charity. We've done a podcast quite recently, so to give you a bit more detail about how we did it, but I really want to spend time about some quotes from the entrepreneurial journey and share them with you guys. I think I wanted this to be almost a call to action for everybody in the room who's got these ideas and this energy to use them to create your own movement. So smart people should build things. Basically, all of you in the room should be working on the projects that are most important to the world and to your companies, sometimes both. And it's very funny, you find that usually the smartest people are the ones that replace their confidence with questions. And I suffered this quite a lot when I started building an app about a situation or a circumstance that's never impacted me directly, and I quite frankly knew quite little about. And you do feel like a fraud or an imposter at sometimes. And then I heard a quote, which is basically, the place in which you feel you don't fit in is often the place in which you can add something new. And that's exactly what we did. We took a situation which has been looked at one way for a long time, and we took a fresh perspective towards it. And I actually think now that technology and the proliferation of information is driving a huge change where basically you don't have to be something to do something. And you see this a lot in the fashion industry. A lot of the large fashion brands that have been built and scaled over the last few years aren't made by fashion designers. If you've got an idea, you can bring the resources you want together and make a difference. Always work hard on something uncomfortably exciting. And this is really true. I wrote a blog a few years ago basically saying if you're not waking up sporadically, sweating at 4 a.m., trying to jot down every idea before you forget it, the project might not be for you. And of course it was hyperbole and etc. But basically you should feel like you are on the edge of uncovering something which everybody else thinks is impossible, and the excitement which comes within that. Average is a failing formula. It works for nobody. The issues which we're dealing with, climate change, food poverty, homelessness, these aren't easy challenges. They're going to need a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of work to make them happen. So definitely align yourself and make sure that you're working on the most important things. Starve your distractions, feed your focus. This one can't be more true. I also like another saying, which is, don't be a rocking chair, a busy fool. I think one of the things about big ideas is people generally get carried away by big ideas and what you could do. And once you start to realize some of those are actually quite big and difficult, you lose enthusiasm, you get frustrated, and you can the whole idea. So your friend asks you, hey, how's that idea coming along? You're like, oh, yeah, you know. you see it on the other end, right? Where people focus on things that don't matter at all. You go and see someone, you say, how's the idea? They show you their brand new shiny website. They show you their business cards. They show you the pitch deck they've put together, right? Things that really don't matter, but make them feel good. And there's a reason why we do this. So Derek Silvers outlines in his TED Talk, basically, that the human mind confuses the saying for the doing. So when we tell everybody our new shiny idea, we get a similar sense of satisfaction as if we've actually done that thing. And that's quite dangerous because you get the experience of almost doing it, but not done any of the hard work. And when it comes to doing the hard work, you think, yeah, maybe not for me. So definitely make sure you're working on the most important challenges at that time for you. Focus on the focus. Take a simple idea, but take it very seriously. So this is sort of almost a universal truth that some of the simplest missions have the largest impact. I was thinking back and thinking about YouTube. It's a platform where you can upload your own videos, but everyone can do it, right? Before it was launched, it was a farcical idea that people would want to see other people's videos. It was all about professional content. It was all about getting everything perfect. And they showed that something so simple as just a platform to upload a video can have a huge impact. And of course, there is complexity and a lot of hard things that fall behind it, but your idea should actually be very, very simple. When we were creating Connected Homeless, we didn't need to build our own payment solution. We didn't need to go and build food banks up and down the country. There are over 500 of them. We just needed to leverage what was already out there and bring it in for our benefit. And I think this is true generally of human development, where knowledge is cumulative and easily shared. And that's what's driving a lot of the progress. So if you can just find that knowledge and bring it into your own project, it makes things a lot simpler. It doesn't mean don't do big ideas, and I want to be very clear around that. You know, we have some interesting things we can do with AI moving forward. We want to integrate things like GP services into the app so homeless people can speak directly with a GP, but you've got to understand what is for you right now and what is for you maybe later on down the journey. This is probably the greatest quote of I've ever come across, really. So from Al Gore, that I'm convinced our world is now in the early stages of a sustainability revolution with the magnitude of the Industrial Revolution, but the speed of the digital revolution. And if there isn't a quote to get you all excited and to capture the opportunity, it might never come, because that is it right there. We're really at an interesting time where social opportunities and social purposes and technology are clashing quicker than ever before. You can solve a lot of problems that people thought unconceivable a few years ago with just a few people and a bit of thought behind it. Our goal is to globalize, to use the technology and the platform and scale to places that have been blighted by this issue. And we want to use this as a framework to know that we can capture that and make that happen. I want to leave you with a bonus quote. I said 5, but I always throw in a treat. And it's from Vincent van Gogh. And it's, great things aren't done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. And definitely start your journey, keep going, have fun, and enjoy it. Thank you very much.